Ania Drozd, From Pain to Power, Transforming Your Movement. Anya never set out to become a clinical movement specialist. She began instead with a single question. Why? Why do people move the way they do? Why does pain persist even after treatment? Why do standard protocols so often fall short? The answers weren't in the textbooks, they're in the body, and they're inside our own. Raised in a family where sports were as natural as breathing, Anya's first passion was equestrian show jumping. Her early years were marked by discipline, competition, and performance under pressure, qualities that would later define her professional philosophy. But when the mental and physical toll of that life became unsustainable, she did something rare. She listened to her instincts and walked away. What followed was not retreat, but reinvention. Anya dove into weightlifting, calisthenics, and eventually clinical movement practice, not as a hobby, but as a form of personal problem solving. Injuries, chronic pain, and a lack of clear answers from specialists forced her to build her own solutions. When MRIs, X-rays, and professional opinions led nowhere, she trusted her gut and went inward, combining her formal education in neuropharmacology with thousands of hours of experimentation and self-study. And what emerged was a framework grounded in biology, behavior, and biomechanics, a common-sense system built not on trends, but on truth. She came to understand pain not as an enemy, but as a signal, one that reveals the body's inefficiencies, compensations, and imbalances. She began asking better questions and helping others do the same. Today, Anya leads a select group of clients through that same process, including me, breaking cycles of chronic pain and rebuilding functional movement from the ground up. Her work is defined by precision, quality, and a refusal to do anything halfway. She prioritizes depth over scale, impact over popularity, and results over trends. Her philosophy is simple. You don't fix movement by treating symptoms. You fix movement by understanding the system. So this mindset has shaped her transition from the in-person coaching to a streamlined, high accountability online practice that spans time zones and continents. She's built a trusted brand, not by marketing noise, but by meaningful results, and by earning her clients' respect through clarity, consistency, and care. Anya is not selling movement, she's selling autonomy. For those willing to do the work, her process doesn't just relieve pain, it redefines the way people move through life. Connect with Anya on the show notes below on Instagram. You message directly there. She'll be on YouTube, and her workshops and courses rolling out at anyamoves.com. Thanks for watching. I'm Damien Porter, former New Zealand Special Forces operator, subject matter expert from hownottoDieGuy.com. And you're listening to my Straight Talk Mind and Muscle podcast, sponsored by State, the ultimate daily formula for optimum hormone health, stress management, energy, and performance. 100% natural and clinically proven ingredients. Provides everything you need to raise your game in a convenient gut-friendly capsule. And my new sponsor, Michael Mason of the Mason Survival Protocol. Links for my former shows are in the show notes below. Thanks for watching. Welcome to the Straight Talk Mind and Muscle podcast. Welcome to my guest. Let me get this right. And Ania Drozd of Ania Moves. It's lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you, Jen. Thank you so much for having me here on this podcast. Really excited to speak about, well, we shall see.
And it's your first podcast.
It is indeed, first sort of podcast slash interview. So no pressure at all.
I'm honored to have you on, really. I interview the best people in the world at what they do, and I would also interview a few up-and-comers, what I can see from 8 years of doing a show of where they're going to go. And I do suggest that you're going to be in that genre. And you caught my attention with your skill sets. And we've had a conversation prior discovery call, which was brilliant. And I'd like to introduce you to the world in a different way than you're doing. Because how hard is it to toot your own horn, which you do very well, but it's so hard to talk about yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really difficult. I think especially on social media because, it's all about the short form. Obviously, we have YouTube still, but I guess, I'm mainly on Instagram. It's really like you've got 10 seconds. Like, what am I supposed to, fit into that? But yeah, that's why we're excited, to actually just speak normally as if we were talking, in person. I think it's always, always better. So yeah, it is.
Brilliant. So, my introduction for you is you're a clinical movement specialist. Now, I took that quote from one of your videos, which was awesome about you. That's an interesting term. I guess for the listeners and the viewers, what do you do for other humans?
Okay, where do I begin, right? I guess long story short, I help active people break that chronic pain cycle and move freely for life by rebuilding their movement. And by rebuilding their movement, I mean rewiring how they move, fixing inefficiencies, fixing weaknesses, and most importantly, actually focusing on that foundation, that
Mm.
can actually set them for life and which is necessary, for their performance at work, daily life, and also their sport. So yeah.
That's a brilliant and succinct description. Now, I came across you. You actually don't know this, but and definitely the listeners and viewers won't. I've been watching you for a little bit. We communicated back
Hmm.
and forth, social media wise, marketing wise. But one of your
Hmm.
videos stood out to me, and it was, um, being you can stretch, but are you strong in that position? And is your stretching taking away your pain, or do you need stability? And then looking into you a little bit deeper, you'd actually cured a couple of injuries that are quite tough to come back from, femoral and anterior, or FAI. I can't remember my clinical terms now.
Yes.
Um,
Let's just call it FAI.
I'll stick with that. Nice acronyms. We're good with acronyms. Um,
Yeah.
and you cured a couple of quite interesting injuries. So let's go back to how you got started into this. You've talked about what you do, and we're going to talk about how you actually do that. But I think you're an equestrian competitor. I'd suggest a fairly high level. You were a weightlifter or in the gym. What did you do before you became a clinical movement specialist?
Hmm. Yeah, you're completely right. And I think we should start with I think sport's been always a big part of my life, in my
Mm.
life. Since I remember, I think it was my dad, like, Anya, do this, tennis, ping pong, table tennis, running, cycling, and then horse riding, obviously, right? One of the most expensive sports. Why not, right? I think my parents, yeah, must have hated me for a little bit. But yeah, jokes aside, I don't really remember how, I got into horse riding and with obviously massive help, from my parents, I just started, horse riding, right? And then obviously there's um, different horse riding, right? So I was really into show jumping, which is literally jumping over obstacles, right? And I would say I thought that was going to be my career. I
Mm.
always thought, okay, I'm gonna finish school and I'm just gonna buy 10 horses and keep riding,
Brilliant.
Um, but so yeah, I think it was 2009. So I was pretty young, right? And I think until I was 16, 17, that was my main sport, and like I said, yes, this is my career. But then a lot of things happened, I was relatively pain-free and, injury-free and everything. Obviously, I had a few accidents, like it is, with horse riding and any sport, I would say. Um, but it was also quite draining, like mentally. It was very, very stressful, quite intense environment. So I would say overnight, I just quit pretty much, right? And
Wow.
that's how, yes, I know, very abrupt, like bam, done. It was just a lot, I think, going on, and I was still pretty young, didn't really have any, because now I know we have a lot of coaches, taking care of, professional sports people, mental health as well. So maybe
Yeah.
that what I was missing, which is really, really important, and I guess we can circle back to that, although I'm not a psychologist or sports people psychologist, I also do talk a lot about it in my coaching
Yeah.
because we just don't realize how important, especially in pain management, your mental health is. It's not just about the physical, it's also the brains. But I think that was the day when yeah, went to the gym. I was like, what am I supposed to do now? Right. So I thought I know what weights are pretty much. Let me just lift some up and down, right? So I think that's when I became kind of obsessed, with the gym. And it was the basic, weightlifting. So squats, hip thrusts, um, I was gonna say bench presses, but that would be a lie. So some upper body stuff as well. But yeah, I think that was my main sport until a few months, maybe a year, two ago, when I started calisthenics.
Right.
So kind of transitioned from weight training to body weight training.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I might stop here because I know I'm going into like so much details. So
No, no, that no.
but yeah.
I ask a question. I let the guest just flow through, and it's a natural, organic conversation. You've gone to weightlifting, then calisthenics, and we've seen some of your videos there. Really interesting stuff. But you're literally going, "Hey, I've gone to this after I was broken and couldn't even do this." So, what happened during the
hmm
calisthenics there?
Yes, so I would say, again, it's really difficult for me to say, okay, that's when I got injured, right? Because when we think of an injury, it's like, okay, I fell, I broke my leg, I am injured, right? I think currently, and I'm not saying it's, to everyone, but what happened to me, obviously, yes, I did fall a few times from a horse ride when I was competing or something. Then I probably deadlifted in a weird form, or maybe I didn't actually engage, my core properly. How
Mm,
about my breathing and everything, right? Then calisthenics as well. Then the stress of, the sport, but also everyday life, right? And that's how our body reacts sometimes, It might be something very acute. So yes, you did fall and then you broke something, but it might be the combination of different things, right? So yeah, I didn't break anything or nothing, but I used to do professional sport. My hips were, taking all the hits and everything. Then weightlifting, lifting quite a lot of weight, I let's call it, and then calisthenics, I think, So um my FAI, because we spoke about it in the beginning, so the hip issue, some like weird pain sensation and whatever, it started way before, calisthenics. But it was like, okay, what is this? Where is it coming from? Like I
yeah.
didn't really do anything, and I'm training, right? I'm strong. What's wrong, right?
Mm,
So, yeah, answering your question, I would say it was a long process,
yeah.
Again, it wasn't very acute. It
No.
was more like flaring
But
up
that's
and down,
worse. That's worse for
down.
people, isn't it, Anya? That's, break the
Exactly.
bone. I can look at my toes. I've snapped toes in the past. I'm back doing a beat test 4 weeks later at day 28 for a fracture.
Yeah.
Whereas these long-term injuries that we get in our sports careers or maybe, in our careers that are tough on our bodies, like the military and so on, they really creep up on you and you've got to figure it out. I know the bone's broken. We
Exactly.
can fix that. We'll do this soft tissue around it. But what do you do when you're trying to figure it out? And that's really difficult. And you're even finding it difficult to pinpoint when it was. So, um,
Yeah.
is that where we'll go into how you're helping other people, but that's where your
Hmm.
sort of journey started, right?
Yes, correct. So obviously when I realized something is wrong and I'm busy, I still want to, keep training everything. Okay, let's go to someone who knows what
Bodies.
what they do. They know more than me, or they supposed to, right? So
Mm,
I went to a few specialists, and what can I do, right? So I can do an X-ray, I can do MRI, I can do all these scans, right? Medical screening, which is super, super important, right? When we actually want to make sure, okay, we don't have or we do have that tissue damage or that bone damage or something else, right? But once I got that result, right? So I got the MRI, I got I didn't mention my lower back pain as well, which kind of like flared up even earlier.
and
I
very,
did
very
that as
connected
well.
low back, hip, the trauma
Everything.
of being on a horse and jumping and so
Yes,
on.
yes, 100%. Again, I'm the person who never isolates body parts, right?
Mm,
Obviously, sometimes, okay, my elbow hurts, my butt hurts and everything. But what I do is always taking that step back and how do you move as a whole, right? And then
yes,
later down the line, we break everything down slowly and precisely, but not the other way around, right? Because we might fix that little issue in the elbow, let's call it, whatever that would be. But then what, right? Will it come back? Will it not? What's the actual root cause, right?
got it.
But yeah, going back to my hip and back. So yeah, I did scans and And I did scans, right? And I was like, okay, so I've got a photo, right? What now? And I heard some like scary stuff, to be honest, because yeah, you shouldn't do this. There was something, it was ages ago, so I can't remember exactly, but it was something like you can't squat because your leg hurts, right? Like you can't really go to the gym, like you yeah, quit the weights and everything, maybe you walk more or something. So I was like, okay, so I know what I can't do, but first of all, why and what's our current approach and what can we do about it, right? Moving
Mm.
forward, because I'm a very active person. I'm even probably addicted, right, to sport and moving, which let's call it as a good thing, right? But you telling me to stop doing what I love, right?
And at such a young age, you
It,
suggested as well.
exactly, exactly. So I was like a bit no. Tell me more, right? So I went to another person with all my scans and stuff, even like some blood tests and everything, right? And um, once I got left on red, like literally, it's I still don't know why. Really upsetting. I understand. Maybe they were busy or something. We all are. But yeah, it was quite upsetting to be just left, alone in this. Went
Mm.
to the third person, and then what did I get? Something around like you have to change your training completely. So again, like what you can't do instead of what I can and what can we do together, right? And we can talk about it later as well because I work with a lot of people who actually do their own sport, all of them actually, right? Or even professional athletes, right? I can't really say like quit that,
No,
if that's the job,
it's not
right?
an option. And our brains
Exactly.
aren't going to let us do that. Maybe our income isn't going to let us do it, and our mental health isn't going to let us do it.
Exactly, right? So yeah, that's where I was in a way, right? Like I don't really want to change. I know probably I have to adjust certain things, but like can we
Mm.
keep this what I love? Can I keep doing this and maybe adjust little things?
So
There was
you're getting no answers here as to
no
why this
answer,
is happening.
right? Yeah,
Where did you find your answers? Where did you find a way out of this hole? Because
yeah,
it sounds like it's a bit of a
yeah,
hole. You've brushed over it somewhat, but you're seeing
yeah.
multiple people. I can suggest that probably wasn't very easy. So how did you
Exactly.
start to dig yourself out of that hole? What did you who did you go see?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and I was looking for answers, right? Like again and again and again, because I decided, okay, this is not my job. I really need help, right? Because
Mm.
maybe, for example, we don't want to, you can't really do everything, right? And now we can talk about, live sports, everything. You should delegate, right? So I decided, okay, I'm going to delegate, and why I'm, saying that because I've been in fitness like my whole life, right? So I even without, study, certification, everything, I did have some understanding like very early on, right? Just from my experience, because I was experimenting on my own body and then, helping friends and family and everything. So, but I was like, okay, there's better people than me. I'm gonna
Mm.
go and ask for an answer, right?
Hmm.
So I wasn't getting it anywhere, right? So I was like, okay, enough, Anya, you know what to do, okay? And just do it because that's another thing that we kind of struggle with, right? We look for answers, and I thought that was me, I just wanted someone to tell me, okay, this is wrong, do this, and but actually, did I want to do that? Right? There's another, I guess, aspect to that, that taking action and actually execution of certain things. But um, that's maybe for like another time. So I thought, Anya, you know what to do, try it yourself,
Right.
Um, obviously, I did go to uni, then, I started educating myself a little bit more. I was talking to a lot of people, because I have been in that industry, of professionals for a while. And I just started experimenting on my own body, I would say,
Wow.
in a way, I wouldn't say literally, right? But just taking that um very precise approach to understanding what's actually wrong. Like, am I weak here? Am I inefficient here? There? Do I have to rewire something? Right? Like, what is actually wrong? Instead of just, okay, your hip hurts, strengthen the hip.
Where did you get the
You strengthen
framework?
the hip, like,
Where
mhm.
did you get the framework to do what you just said, to
Mhm.
analyze logically without it? I'm not going to, I'm inferring emotionless, but without
Mhm.
the pain and all the other, and biases, but logically and objectively, where did you get the skill set to do that? You said you went to university, but that's very rare. People just see something on Instagram and do that, or they'll try something that feels good. They'll stretch the hip flexor like I did for 10 years that didn't work. So where did
Yeah.
you learn that skill set, Anya?
hmm So I would say most important thing was probably my experience, right? Apart
Mm.
from I'm gonna go back to uni and my training everything, but practicing from very early, like trying different literally movements, sports, this and that, moving, blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
Failing, succeeding, it hurts here, hurts there,
Hmm.
reading. Like I would always, I don't know, maybe I'm just like a little nerd, but biomechanics and how our bodies move all yeah would always like just excites me, so I would just open a book and be like, oh, this is nice,
Yeah.
this
So
is a
that's
bone,
the way
right?
your brain's wired. You can join the dots. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And yeah, like you said, I'm probably very like problem solving, right? So if
Mm.
I had a problem, and I'm not even talking about like sports, pretty much anything, I would like break it down and like, okay, try to figure out everything, right? Like,
Mm.
why this, but why that? I remember even at school, at maths, everyone would follow like formulas, and I'd be like, but why this formula? Like, can it not be more logical or something? And I would like come up with my own formula or something, right? So yeah, that was funny. So I guess that part of me, my experience, sports, then gym, and then uni. So what I actually did is slash isn't relevant to like human movement because I
Mm.
studied neuropharmacology. So it was mostly brains and medicine, right? So neuroscience combined with pharmacology.
Well, that's very factual based things. None of those are concepts. Those are straight up um, analyses of how the brain works and straight up analyses of they've created these chemicals to do things in the body. So that's
Exactly.
interesting.
Yes, yes. So, yeah, obviously, had to learn about the whole body, again, anatomy, the function of the body. But on top of that, it would always be linked to our nervous system, which you can probably see now in my method, right? Because
Yeah,
I truly believe that anatomy and like, all these systems are also important, but the brain controls everything, right? So I'd always ask like, why do I move my arm up? Like, okay, obviously it's the antagonist, agonist muscles moving this and that, but it's the
mm,
brain. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah, I
um,
do.
yeah, yeah. So I guess I would always link that, my experience,
Yeah.
something that I learned at uni, and the brains and the new not neurology, but neuroscience and our nervous system, responses and control over the body. So
That nervous system is a wonderful thing, and I can just think back to the hip flexor analogy I gave. No, an example, sorry, real world example. You know, I did oh, showing the age, 1998. Paul Check, who was the first exercise rehab physiologist doing the high performance exercise kinesiology at the time. Kinesiology being the study of human movement, not whatever the hell some other
Mhm.
people do. But I was tested as having a big anterior pelvic tilt, and of course, with
Yeah.
the simple logic of a short muscle is clearly tight, so you stretch that and you strengthen up and shorten the longer muscle. Is that um, basic? And it's wrong, because I stretched for years, didn't get anything, and then as soon as I did one little thing, boom, my hip flexor just let go, and I had a normal pelvic tilt, which was amazing, and that
Yeah.
was all from what you're saying with um, the the subconscious activation of those, the neurology of
Yeah.
those. That
Exactly. And just to add on that, even though even if, your pelvic tilt was because this muscle was shorter, this muscle's longer.
Mm,
Why? Right?
yes,
Or
yes.
more tense, more
Yeah, yeah.
contracted
Well,
for long.
he gave the example in his one of the lectures. Check out. It was a girl because it was what was on checkouts in the supermarkets back then, and she was always rotated one way
Yeah.
because she always back then you only ever face one way in the old style supermarkets, so she had to turn around the other way to train these longer, shorter muscles and longer muscles. So there's
Mm.
another example of that with the why. But you've got a much deeper understanding that I've seen into the whole how the body works.
Yeah. Yeah. I love how you said the why, it's also really important. Like, okay, you move like this, you feel it here, there, da da da, but why? Right? On top of everything, just always ask yourself why you do certain things, why you feel pain here, why you feel pain there, blah blah blah. So,
So this is how you started getting
mhm,
into repairing your own body, figuring out why your body was doing these things. What was your eureka moment, or what was your discovery of why your body was doing these things, and what was the right thing to do to
mhm,
fix yourself, to heal
mhm.
thyself?
Good question. I wonder if there was like one thing, that made me like, oh my God, this is that. But to be honest with you, I remember when I was still in London, I so I was in this journey of, you know, educating myself, like learning about my own body. And I can't remember exactly when it was, but back in the day, I used to train people. It was just like normal kind of strength training, like kind of like PTing, I would say,
Yeah.
in person, right? So, and I don't want to brag or anything, but I think I have very good eye for detail, right? So I see very tiny inefficiencies in like
Hmm.
movement and everything. So I guess that's where this like idea of like maybe that's something I can really focus on, came from. Like just focusing on teeny tiny details, right? The foundation of bigger, more complex movement would be my thing, or maybe not even my thing, because back in the day I wasn't thinking about, okay, that's what I can do for a living, let's say, right? But maybe that's what we miss because we always focus on, okay, squat, 200 kgs, yes, let's go, run, sprint, okay, Ironman. Now I'm gonna do, bike rides, 100 miles, something, right? But then
Hmm.
how about take a step back and back and back and back, right? And maybe that's where your issues are actually rooted, right? Um, so I guess I was just again going back to your question, I was just experimenting with different methods and learning from other people, right? And I was this one person, currently my friend, who introduced me to Pilates actually, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm, the strength person, like
Yeah.
give me my weights, give me my, whatever that means, So yoga, Pilates would always be for me like, okay, this is easy, like I don't have to do this. But she introduced me to something more like physio Pilates, right? So
Yes.
really
Clinical
focusing on
Pilates.
not right, exactly, not just going through, I don't know, the flow. And again, I don't want to say just, right? Because I believe any sort of movement is good. If yoga works for you, it works for you. If yoga works for me, it works for me. Right.
Hmm.
So end of story. There's no good or bad movement, right? I wouldn't categorize it in that way. But you can prefer this or you can prefer that, right? So once again, I was like, okay, I can go to Pilates and just try it out, right? But because it was completely different to maybe what I expected, and she really focused on like the form and creating the right understanding of your whole body and awareness. Again, the light kind of was, do you call it like flashing or something? Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? It was
yeah.
like the beam, right? Again, we going back to that foundation, that understanding of your body, awareness of your body, and everything. And it just, I was like, this is amazing, like I don't know what you're doing, but like my back was feeling better a little bit, like
Mhm.
I got even more deeper understanding, right? So I did clinical Pilates myself, I just wanted to try it from
Mhm.
the teacher perspective, right? Maybe implement some bits and bobs, into what I was doing already, right? So
Mhm.
training people. So yes, I did one clinical Pilates course, right? Work with physiotherapists and everything, and I loved it because it gave me even deeper understanding of human body, and the proprioception. So again, body awareness, how we move, very little tiny details in movement, which might seem super simple, right? But it's actually so difficult because it's your brain working, right? How can you, for example, create tension in your whole body from head to toes whilst being sat down? Like, can you? Right? It's
Yeah. Super hard.
exactly. Right? And so yeah, I think I can't really give you one time in my life when I was like, okay, this is it, right?
Mm.
It was years of education, experience, education, meeting people, experience once again, that long journey, which led me to where I am at the moment.
What an interesting journey you've had. And that's what when I send an invite out to a guest, I say, I want to talk about your journey. And you've clearly done that. So I guess now the question is, how are you using that to help people? And and then this sounds brutal, but as a setup, why would a guy like me,
Mm.
international champion bodybuilder, special forces operator, I know a bunch of stuff. I'm tons older than you. You're a young little female. Why would I be helped by you? And spoiler alert for the listeners, I am. You are helping me, which is brilliant, and I can see the importance and the skill set you have. But for the people listening, they've heard some of your journey. How do you actually work with people? What is it that you do to get them out of pain? Because you have some big calls of what you can do, and I'm sure you walk your talk.
Thank you so much, first of all, Damien. So answering the first part of the question, with all my, gathering the information, my experience and education, I came up again over time with my own framework, right?
Yes.
Meaning phases, timing, exercises, reps, sets, all that stuff, that I now use with my clients.
Hmm.
Obviously, I work with people one to one, so it's like highly, personalized as well. Um, but um, but yeah, I think I just focused on, rebuilding people's foundation because I realized this is what is missing, right? Um,
Absolutely.
Other stuff, that people with in healthcare do, like physios, chiros, all the massage, strength training, conditioning. It's so, so important, right? And we all doing amazing job, trying to really help. But I realized what we really miss in that whole system is actually focusing on the boring stuff, the foundation, and then slowly, break again. We have a problem. Let's break it down and focus on step one, step two, step three, and then slowly build up, right? So we can get from point A, where you are currently in chronic pain, a lot of issues, muscle tightness, stiffness, inflexible as,
All the
to
things.
actually being able to move freely and perform in your sport and life, like I said earlier, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I decided to focus on with my experience and knowledge. And answering the second part of your question, which is why me, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
not? No, I'm joking, I'm joking. Jokes aside, but I think it's because first of all, I have been through this myself,
Yeah.
um, which I guess position myself. From just a different perspective, right? Because I struggle a lot, sport my whole life, right? Moving all the time to not really, or like waking up, wondering whether I'll be able to move normally, or I wake up and, oh no, oh no, oh
That
no,
that right there,
right?
gosh, I'm sure that listeners and viewers listening right now have been there and done that. You're like, oh, what can I not do today because of this thing?
Exactly. And it's awful, isn't it?
Oh,
Because
horrible.
you're stressed enough from your life and work and everything, right? You don't want to be stressed by your favorite part of the day, right? Which is obviously the gym.
Well, but even worse than the professional athlete is the mum. The mum
Oh my God,
who they
exactly.
I had a interview with a special forces guy. I think he was a Delta Force guy. That Delta Force for the listeners is the American equivalent of the British SAS, and yeah, it was a British special forces guy now, and we both agreed that the single mother doing it
Yeah,
right is tougher than any special forces operator because we get to finish the mission and go home. They are stuck in that 24/7 and then throw an injury on top of that and they still got to do the thing. Gosh, that's the person that I love being able to help in some way. And I'm
yeah,
sure you would too.
yeah, no, 100%. And I do have a lot of clients, who actually were unable to just play with their kids, because first of all, yes, they would wake up. oh no, today is not the day, right? And the kids
Mm.
are literally, let's go and play football outside, because the sun is out.
Mm.
And can't, right? Or I remember one of my clients couldn't run with his sister, right? Because it was just, yeah, the knees the
Oh,
knees are saying no today, right? So I think obviously like being able, if you do a sport professionally or even not professionally, but just for fun, this is one thing, right? But if you can't actually live a normal life with your family, your partner, whatever that would be, your closest people, the most important thing, and you can't enjoy that, it's just awful. Like it just, yeah, it makes me want to cry,
yeah.
So yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Um,
So
yeah,
this is how you help people, which is brilliant. You've got a great program there, and also quite a succinct. Um, I've never used the word funnel on a show in 8 years, but a funnel in. Yeah, you've got essentially a landing page there from your Instagram and from your YouTube to go to a landing page. Um, that's the next question. I mean, from everything you said, people should by now be intrigued about you and have a look at what you do. And you've got some amazing videos on there that are helpful. And that's where I wanted to go next was you've also got a very intriguing marketing style and clearly successful. You're young, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean that you're using 2025 skills to get your ability to help others out there. So your Instagram and your YouTube, how did you get into that? Because again, neuropharmacology and working out yourself, that's got nothing to do with, as you said at the start, putting on a 10
yeah,
second video that is attractive
yeah.
to someone to want to hire you. So how did you figure that out? Because I would suggest you've done that successfully.
Thank you so much, first of all. Honestly, really appreciate it. And again, another very good question. How did I get into that? Because maybe it might seem like I love Instagram. I love nature, no screens, no nothing. So
Yes.
why do I have to be on Instagram, And I actually remember, it was my very good friend. Um, when was it? It was like 10 years ago or something. And I was back in school, maybe even more, like 12, 13. And she goes, Anya, you have to start posting videos online,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I was like, what are you on about? I was like, on what? With what? And how? Like I don't want to have my face, on socials, anything, be a public person or anything,
Yeah.
So yeah, you can say it, it started back then, but obviously it was a big no. When I was like still super young, and didn't really know what I was doing. And here we go, right? I actually started my account last year, I think in January. So it's quite
Quite fresh.
it's oh yeah, quite fresh. And to be honest with you, I just decided one day that I am starting this, and I think I just wanted to probably in yeah, I can say like increase my not even visibility, but have some sort of online presence because I was already working with people in person, right?
Mm.
So I just thought, okay, first of all, maybe I can help more people just by just giving tips, on Instagram because that's how I started. I would just record certain videos and be like, okay, try this, try that, right?
Mm.
Uh, Save this post, do it at home, see how you feel, right? And then obviously I realized, okay, maybe that's how I can also get more people that I can work with in person, right? So
Yes.
I guess that's how it started. I thought, okay, I don't have to, right? But I am gonna start my Instagram. I am gonna start being that Instagram person, right? Coach or whatever to help people online and also get more clients pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Because I guess yeah, we have to be honest about it. This is how it is. Um, so yeah, that was the beginning of let's make it bigger in
Yeah.
terms of help more people and yeah, just at a wider scale, bigger scale, I'd say.
I think authenticity has shone through in what I've seen with you online and the information you put out. And I say that because much like my videos, I'll show you what to do and you show people what to do, but then you explain a little bit of the why around it, which is brilliant. And but they're getting information there that might actually help them. Might just do that one thing and awesome, almost fix myself, and then they may choose to come see you. But the authenticity of
Mm.
it comes through and I mean that also in the you are wanting to help rather than
Hmm.
you're not. I don't think I've ever interviewed an influencer. I sure as hell wouldn't either. But you're a female on Instagram, but you're not an influencer
Yeah.
in gym gear doing the thing. You're actually doing it for a reason, which is again authentic. So it's working well. Um, what I heard you say is you sort of modeled it on the videos you sent to your clients anyway. So you're just going to the world with the same sort of thing. Is that right?
Yes, pretty much, and I think because obviously, when I was working like just one to one, I think I had like a website or something. I can't remember. It was like some sort of how do you call it? It's not a marketplace. Yeah, a website when you can just like tutor people, and stuff. So I had, some clients through recommendation, like friends and everything who just knew me, right, from real life, let's call it. And then yeah, I just wanted to, try to, increase my, make my scale, literally scale,
Yeah.
a little bit more, I would say. So I guess probably that's why, and also just wanted to see, if pe people will actually use this, reels, posts, or my videos, and will it actually help them, right? And I'm really, really grateful for, everything because I think it did, right? Because then I started to grow really rapidly, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on actually, right? And I guess, the why behind everything, what you
Mm,
just said. And circling back to, what we spoke in the beginning, it's resonating with people, and it made
mm,
me really, really happy, because I could be just showing how to squat, right? I could show you how to bench press or just handstand or something, but I always want to make sure that people know why. Like, why am I showing you this? Why I want you to get out of this? Why, right? And yeah, getting, you can call it like, followers, numbers, and we all know like it is important, right, for your growth, but the engagement, and then people messaging me, and then getting a few people that I can work with, in person, and them seeing results, right? Because yeah, later we can talk about results and everything. I was like, oh my God, yay. um People are watching this and transforming their lives, right?
mm.
This is what this is about, and maybe I can actually do this as my job, right? And not consulting anymore, which we haven't mentioned just yet. But but yeah, it was just after I left my consulting job, so I was like, yes, never
I'm
again.
I'm intrigued. Have you ever read or heard about the book Flow State?
Like, I think I heard about it, but I
Yeah.
I haven't read it. No.
So you would have been in flow state on the horse when everything is just effortless. You can almost see the world bigger and brighter. You're not scared. You're just in that flow state. The skydiver doing those amazing things and so on.
Yeah.
Stephen Kotler. Gosh, I don't know how that came
Huh?
into my brain. Um, there's 7 flow state triggers, and for me, that's in no particular order. Um, Doing dangerous things, um,
Hmm.
creativity, and altruism. Now, most people wouldn't think I'm a creative guy, but I kind of am with what I do, and I love creativity. It can be building.
Yeah.
Altruism and helping others, and it's interesting because
Yeah.
equestrian is show jumping. Sorry, is a dangerous thing. It's you're on a huge
Yeah.
beast jumping over things, and it's interesting
Yeah.
that you clearly got altruism, helping others, and creativity because you had to go and create your own way of doing it. That if we're going away from equestrian, the sport that you chose not to do, you're still kicking those flow state triggers. That flow state is defined as if you took all the drugs in the world, cocaine, amphetamine, weed, alcohol, so all the ups and downs, you'd kill yourself with the amount of chemicals that your brain puts out in this flow state. So I'd suggest that doing what you're doing, the way you've done it, you're still filling your buckets.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And I love this correlation, I would say. I have to read that, that book, because I actually thought you were going to refer to the other book, Why, What, How? Why, How, What? Something like this. Yeah, because
Yeah.
we were like talking about the why. But yeah, back to what was it called again? Flow.
So the flow state, Stephen Kotler, and
Yeah.
really interesting book. I've listened to the audio book and read the book, but you're helping other people that you've scaled a business, but you clearly, again, authentic at helping people get out of pain because you know how important it was to you.
Yeah, yeah, yes, correct. And I would even say like, I finally can do what I love, right?
Here we go. Yep.
Because that's why, I could pretty much work 24/7. Obviously, this is very unhealthy, right? So I do have, try to have boundaries as well and don't, I don't tend to work too much, but I'm extremely lucky, that all my experience, ups and downs, led me to this position, I'm being interviewed, on a podcast. Like this is just something amazing. And me doing, being in fitness, what I love, doing my own sport, meeting all these people, in the same in calisthenics or even just, people that I work with, clients, friends, and everything, being able to do what I love for a living, it's amazing. But I definitely want to say, because I think we always put it like, oh, it's all fairy tale like yes it's all great, right? It's what I was getting at, right? The is, everything that we see on Instagram and online, I would say it's all great, right? But sometimes, even though, I love doing what I do now for a living, sometimes, like we said, Instagram, oh no, you have to, you know yourself, right? Like you have to post, you have to
Mm.
maybe edit, you have to hire someone, you have to speak with a lot of people and this and that. So there's also like some, ups and downs, I would say, but
Yeah.
overall, really, yeah, really, really grateful to just be, yeah, where I am.
And that circles us back and manages to tie us in a bow nicely. I don't know how I figured this stuff out. I'm just a fireman and a guy who used to shoot, trained to shoot people in the face.
Yeah,
If we
yeah,
circle back to what do you do?
yeah.
Was the first question. How's it gone for you, all this journey, and where you're at? Where are you at now? So, where are you at now, business wise, helping people? We've got some amazing testimonials on your landing page. How has it gone for you, and where are you at now, Anya?
hmm so do you mean like where, kind of like where I started and where we are right now,
Well,
or
we've gone through all your journey. So where are you at right now? Business success, client success. We talked about, straight out of school, equestrian, and then you've given that away. And now you're in a
yeah,
completely different place and you've developed this stuff yourself. So where are you at? The listeners who would like to know the end start of this, of the journey. What chapter you're in now?
yeah, of course. So, yeah, long story short, I started, right, going back in time. I started with one-to-one in-person training. That was it. It was me, myself, and I helping clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I thought, okay, I'm from Poland, I'm Polish, so I have my family in Poland. I used to live in London, now I'm kind of in between places, so I also move a lot, right? So that was an issue with
Mm,
me
very.
in person, right? I realized, okay, I can't leave my clients just, alone, and then, okay, next month we see each other again, right? So I had to figure out a way, how can I still do help them and live my life, right, kind of in between countries, I would say, and how can I also make it more efficient, right? So now the Instagram came, me kind of transitioning online, and it also made me realize that it is actually more efficient. Would I say it's better? I wouldn't say this is better or that is better. It's completely different, but I would argue that teaching online is more efficient in terms of my own time and my clients' time, right? Because I can work on my own time, they can work in their own time as well. Obviously,
We take our travel, all those things. We can literally jump online. There's our niche of time and we're done.
exactly. And also when we t talking, about consistency, right? Sometimes, I'm thinking like my clients, they're extremely busy, especially when they like work in tech or something like 12 hours a day, and they in the US or Australia, and I'm in Europe, like it'll be difficult to even hop on a call, right? And it's about consistency. So do I have the right tools, systems, and support so I can make this happen, even though we even not on the call, maybe, right? Can they
Mm,
do something in their own time to keep it consistent? And then I'm gonna, check your form, like, oh, do my check-ins, the video feedback, then we hop on a call and everything, right? So,
mm.
um, I guess this is how we should be using, Zooms and laptops and everything to make this just more efficient and not just time, but progress wise too. So yeah, started in person, slowly transitioning, doing a hybrid way of working, in person, online, in person, online. And I thought, okay, this is just too much. I really want to make sure that quality of my work is always over quantity, right? Because yeah, I could be working with, with 10,000 people at the same time and they would be getting zero results, right? So
Of
always
course.
quality over quantity. What can I do now? Okay, can I fully transition online? Scary, right? Because
Yes,
never done
very.
that before. There's so many online coaches and everything, but okay, trusting the process, give it a go, try it, right? Instagram helped getting some people, through there as well. Um, Having, all my um like I said, tools and systems in place, right, which are necessary. And then I guess building my team, to kind of help me with um other bits, probably just like, some tech stuff, is there a better system, better this, so okay, I'm the expert. How can I delegate other tasks, right? Let's say I have to take care of Instagram, right? So the boring things, let's say Instagram, some, I don't know, scheduling, making sure that clients have meetings scheduled. I don't know. I'm just coming up with random things,
Mm.
and then actually doing still my job, right? So which is always the priority, right? Because I want to share my knowledge and I want to help. The other things are obviously enablers, but
Yes.
without them, we don't need the enablers, right?
Mm.
So what can I, first of all, what can I delegate? I delegate this, and that, right? So now I grew a little team, which I'm very grateful for. I would have never been here without them because they're doing an amazing job and just helping me with, workload. So I can, again, focus on what I'm actually an expert at.
Brilliant.
And I guess that's where I'm at the moment, working with people one to one, fully online. Maybe thinking about some workshops because I think I missed that in-person aspect.
Yep.
So yeah, not saying much, but thinking, yeah, some things are, being planned and everything. Would love to do something more in person. But yeah, currently one-to-one, super high level, personalized help that I provide. Yeah.
Brilliant. And you got some amazing client testimonials. Um, yeah. So, and you might be going on tour.
On little tour, exactly, across the world.
Brilliant. Look
Oh,
at
I hope we'll do it one day, for sure.
you've got an intriguing journey, and it's great to see where you're at now, helping people. And
Thank you.
the proof's in the pudding. Both not only fixing yourself, which we've seen online on the videos and so on, and where you've come from, but with the clients that you're working with. And
Mhm.
as I said before, for the listeners and viewers, spoiler alert, I've hired you, and I'll be coming on board as a client, and we'll see what you can do with this old broken body, and maybe say by the time this show comes out, I'll be halfway through the program. So I'm excited for that, and I'm looking forward to people hearing more about you. There's narrated show notes at the start, Anya, but listening to now, where is the best place? Someone's listening now goes, right, I want to go and book her. I want to go and find out what the hell they've been talking about. What is this amazing video that they chatted about? Where do they find you? Where's the best places, Anya?
Mhm. Instagram. With long story, yeah, sorry, short answer. Just go straight to my Instagram page, DM me, and I'll definitely reply. We'll make sure that we're the right fit. Probably ask you a few questions, about yourself, your current situation, and then yeah, we jump on a quick call either with myself or my team, and yeah, that's how it is, and we can
Beautiful.
start working together.
Beautiful. And for the oldies that don't have Instagram, I say oldies because I'm I'm never in the genre, but I've got to do Instagram. Is there a website there as well?
I do have a website, but actually it's kind of well, it is working and it's up there, so it's pretty much animus.com. But I think the
Animals.com.
best way would probably be yeah, DMing me, so messaging me on Instagram at the moment.
Beautiful.
I would say website. We are thinking about developing something maybe for people, without Instagram, because obviously not everyone is on there. But my current focus and just managing the messages, it happens, yeah, on Instagram. So I would
Yes,
say
so we
the same thing,
can.
animus.com. But if not, Ania moves on Instagram.
Beautiful, beautiful, awesome. Well, you made it through your first show.
Can I go home now? No, I'm joking. Whew.
Absolutely, absolutely brilliant to have you on. I'm glad we managed to connect both professionally and then on this as well, because I do really enjoy sharing guests' journeys with the world, and I'm looking forward to seeing great things with you, and also looking forward a little bit selfishly to some great things with myself as well. So, Anya, thank you
100%.
so much for coming on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much as well for inviting me and you guys, I guess, listening or watching, right? It was, yeah, my first experience, but I just loved it. Yes, always happy to talk about everything to do with fitness and also personal life, and just connect with yourself and you guys, listeners, a little bit better. Yeah, a little bit longer than 10 seconds reels, right? So
You
yes,
circled
thank
back,
you so
you
much.
circled back very well.
It's like sped up, No, but love it. Long form content is always better. So thank
Absolutely.
you so much for having me again.
You're most welcome. Awesome. Okay, well, I'll hit pause. We have a quick chat. Thank you so much.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Hi, thanks for watching. I'm Damien Porter, former New Zealand Special Forces operator and former Australian police officer, and your podcast host. Please check out my new project at hownottoDieGuy.com, where I teach everything you need to know to both males and females, at risk populations, schools, kids, and the elderly for self defense, situational awareness, and all round skills that every good person should know. Thanks for watching.